Welcome back to Exotic Car Play Place, everyone. Thanks for joining in on this beautiful, sunshiny kind of an afternoon. Today we're going to talk about Lexus, and specifically, which cars would I drive? As a matter of fact, everybody knows Lexus is known for reliability, dependability, quality control. However, not every one of these cars is a car I'd personally want to drive. Many of them are very boring. As a matter of fact, many of them borderline ugly, and you'd feed them with a slingshot. However, there are several great performance models, and I'm going to give you my list of some of the best cars that I personally love and I would share with you guys. So let's get into it now. Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Mark with Exotic Car Play Place. Car on my list actually is the blue car right behind me, and that is the Lexus RC 350 F Sport. So what's so great about these cars? This is actually the entry-level Lexus sports car. This is the 350 F Sport, and it has about 306 horsepower with this engine. As well with the F Sport, they've got some upgraded suspension bits, some aero bits. You'll notice some detail on the front end, some spoiler. You've got some interesting mirror detail. As you work your way around the car here, you'll notice a little bit more detail around the trunk, and just the overall look is certainly a lot more sporty. Look at the side skirts. It's definitely got sport written all over it. You've also got these great little inserts on the rear bumpers, and you've got the dual tips on the back. Notice this one's an all-wheel drive car. Great for all-weather driving. Beautiful detailed car, certainly something that would be interesting and quite fun to drive. Now this isn't a BMW M3, however this is a very, very good entry-level performance car in the Lexus world. And it's a great place to start if you want to get a taste for the Lexus performance, but you definitely have a strapped budget. This is a great place to start, the RC 350 F Sport. Now the next Lexus that I would actually consider, because it's not an absolute dud, because what we have behind me is the IS 350 F Sport car here. So while much of this car is very similar to the RC 350 F Sport that we just saw, there's an advantage. This car, if you can believe it, is actually about 160 pounds lighter than the RC car. It shares the same drivetrain, V6 with 306 horsepower, rear-wheel drive. It makes a 0 to 60 time of about 5.5 seconds. Makes it very, very lively. Of course, you get to enjoy the reliability that you get typically with any Toyota product and Lexus, but it does perform as well as sort of a mid-level 3 Series BMW. Now, while it is a very attractive car, and the four doors certainly give you a level of practicality that can't be denied, these cars were in fact due for a refresh. Now, not everybody loves that grille, and it certainly is a love-hate grille, but get past that grille, the rest of the car is actually superb, and it's relatively affordably priced too. Now, the big problem with this car is you know there's a refresh coming for the IS series car. Lexus hasn't yet confirmed what they're doing with it and what sort of engines and drivetrain they're coming out with, but one thing that's been more or less confirmed is the car is not seeing any significant cosmetic changes, more or less the same, and only subtle differences on the front and rear bumpers and the interior are going to happen. Most of the drivetrains will exist other than possibly considering a V8 engine that may be shoehorned into this car. Other than that, it's a very affordably priced car, fun to drive, and super reliable. So the next car on my list of Lexus cars that I would actually own myself because they are that good to drive is the white car right behind me, and that is the Lexus IS F. These cars were created back in about 2008. They finished production late 13, and so they had a limited production run. However, they had a great automatic gearbox, rear-wheel drive only, V8 engine that made about 416 horsepower, 0 to 60, yes, in about 4.5 seconds. It was very, very quick. And this car was a strong competition for the likes of the Mercedes, for the AMG C-Class, as well as the BMW M3 of the same generation. That would be the E90 and E92. Now the key, because it's based on an IS chassis, we've got 4 doors, but you can't mistake that special wheels. You can't mistake the F badge on there, and you definitely can't mistake those vents on the front side fenders, as well as the extra flare you notice on there as well. The rear, we look around here, we'll see a special wing on the back. These nice touches, as well as ISF. You definitely won't miss that. You do have a unique splitter. In this case, it's a carbon fiber splitter along the back. Very unique for the ISF. And you've got those stacked and staggered exhaust tips on both sides. That is a dead giveaway that you're driving one of the special ISF models. This is a keeper and will likely be around for many, many more years to come. And so the next Lexus on my list that I would seriously consider driving, because it's such a great performance car, is the GS F, like this. Only difference is this car here is actually the GS 350 F Sport that we see in front of us here. Absolutely beautiful car. The actual F version has a 5-liter V8 engine that makes about 480 horsepower. It has a sport tuned suspension. It is rear-wheel drive. It is more comfortable than you could possibly imagine and is designed to be competitive with the likes of the BMW 550, somewhere between the 550 and the M5 series cars. This car, even though it's rather large, will do a 0 to 60 in about 4.3 seconds. Now, the disappointment with this car is more in the fact that Lexus is starting to phase these cars out. Sadly enough, this is truly one of the most beautiful Lexus cars to date. You look around, other than the grille, which is trademark Lexus, nothing unique there. But you've got some interesting accents on the front end of the car, decent wheels that match up. And we move around to the back. This is just the GS 350. As I said, this is the V6 version of the GS, but the F Sport, the F version, is very much based on this car. So looking around, these cars have great proportions, great styling cues. And we get the F version, you've got better exhaust setup, suspension setup, a few more accents and details. But this car is truly one of the best Lexus cars out there on the market today and will be thoroughly missed. So the next car on my list actually goes to another model that's a bit more sporty, step up from one of the earlier cars that I spoke of already because it's dialed up. This particular car also has a V8 engine, 480 horsepower, but is a little bit sportier. And here it is. We have the RCF. Beautiful car. Again, as you can notice, you have numerous accents. You've got this interesting tail here. You've got those staggered exhaust tips down there. Looking down the side, you've got that wonderful kink right there. Again, those vents on the front fender flared out, looks really, really sharp. And a truly mesmerizing front end of this car. Those headlights are absolutely stunning. The front end is very sharp and aggressive looking. All the luxury you could possibly want, albeit slightly heavier. There's also a track version of this car. This one, as it stands, the RCF can nail down 0 to 60 miles per hour in about 4.3 seconds and the quarter mile in about 13 seconds flat. Quite honestly, is great competition for the BMW M3 as well as the Mercedes C63. Slightly less edgy, but far more dependable, and this thing will go like the wind. One of my favorite Lexus cars. And there, in fact, is another Lexus that I would consider buying. As a matter of fact, I made a video about it about a year ago. It also shares a V8 engine, makes about 490 horsepower. It's a coupe, and it is absolutely stunning. Here it is. And it is the Lexus LC 500, the non-hybrid version. Yes, the car that has the straight-up V8 engine that makes 490 horsepower, 0 to 60, 4.3 seconds, quarter mile, 13 seconds flat. Most luxury Euro cars, this is a must-have on the list. Not only does the LC 500 have the luxury amenities, it doesn't just have the V8 engine and blistering performance, but it also has a soundtrack that's amazing as well. And on top of all of that, it has a distinctive profile which borderlines exotic. It also has some really beautiful taillight assembly. The front end is very wide and low, and the car just has an overall presence, a stage presence when parked on the side of the road, or whether you're in front of it or behind it. It lets you know that this is something a little bit more than what you're normally used to seeing. Now, it does feature a rear-wheel drive and an automatic transmission, but all of them work very, very well together. And this is truly one of those memorable Lexuses. And this is truly one of those memorable Lexus cars that you really need to make on your bucket list. So the next desirable Lexus on my list that I could truly see myself owning would be the wonderful supercar-based Lexus LFA. Now, the Lexus LFA initially came out as an all-aluminum car, rear-wheel drive, 6-speed automated manual gearbox, hooked up to a 4.8-liter V10 engine co-developed with Yamaha that produced 556 brake horsepower. It is really one of the masterpieces of today, which drove the price up dramatically since only 500 units were made between 2011 and 2012. While this car could hit 0 to 60 miles per hour in about 3.7 seconds, it truly was a Ferrari Enzo killer. This car was blisteringly fast, rare as can be, very expensive, but really one of a kind. Lexus and Toyota claim that they lost money on every single model, and yet they sold them anyway to showcase what could be done and the level of performance technology that could be incorporated into a Toyota-based supercar. The Lexus LFA really is one of the best all-time supercars on the planet till today, and is really a must-have. If you have an opportunity to get a ride in one, take it. It is a very, very rare car, and ultimately a real bucket list car that I would love to own one day. And with that said, everybody, you're definitely going to want to click on that video right there. It's going to share with you guys why Lexus is out of touch with the performance driving component. Unfortunately, they build a great car for reliability, but they're losing touch. You're going to want to see that video as well. Don't forget to hit subscribe down there. You're going to love the channel. Lots of great content, Lexus, luxury, and high performance. Thanks again. Hope to see you soon. Bye-bye.